$350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got it restocked with the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We're, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people now.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
Right now, it's survival mode. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
What a great ad. What another great ad. I'm telling you. and she actually, Nancy Pelosi's actually very helpful. So to make ads. I mean, we could keep these going for years and years. I just enjoy the show so much. Hey, you guys, I'm Melissa, Red Pill the World. We're going to have fun today, as always. And y'all know this is the funnest Q channel there is. We look at the Q posts and the current events and the Trump tweets in the light of God's word. So we're going to see this is the great day of the Lord. This is the great day when we're being set free from these creeps. So we're going to talk about more about gold a little bit. We're going to talk about D5. We're going to talk about, I want to show y'all something about Elijah. And also, I watched a video by Bards of War. And actually, someone I love a whole lot really likes Bards of War and shares it with his buddies. Mr. Wonderful shares that. So that's a really good one to share with guys. So yeah, we just got to find the thing that really will hit them and go, yeah, they like it. So we're going to talk about that because we all need each other, because we can't win this. No one can do this all by themselves. We all have to, we all look at things from a different perspective. And he had some really cool things from his perspective on this video. And I wanted you to catch some of these things. It's really important because some of the comments I see, we're not, a lot of us on my channel, maybe you're not, have not been in the military. And so we don't necessarily think strategically, okay? So we're going to do that today. We're going to try. And looky here. I think this is D5. I'm also thinking DS looks like a 5. Deep state, D5 equals 5-5, which equals May 5-5, which is May 5th. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's the day they're going back to the Congress is being opened back up after this ridiculous pandemic. And the question is there something major going to happen on 5-5 where it's an eye-opening experience, a wake-up call for everyone, and they realize something major is going on. We're seeing so much on a daily basis. I mean, this whole, all the press briefings really are being such a great eye-opener for people, but it's just building and building and building, and this avalanche of data and information for people to try to, it takes a while for us to all reason this out in our minds. And so that would be potentially the day when, because if all these people who are on the front lines of the ones at the top are gone, then it's easy to just pick these off, like flick, 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 with not a gun, but with truth bullets, with indictments, which we're all just waiting. Indictments, please, right? In the right time. Okay, so we're going to do that. But this is the video that I was watching, Bards of War, a letter from General Flynn saving a nation that was already lost. He puts it in such just pow perspective. Just, yeah, really, really good. So this is number 81. Episode 81, bought from Bards of War, and definitely subscribe to their channel, Letter from Flynn, Saving a Nation That Was Already Lost. So I'm going to show you some of the highlights that I had. I'm going to get you one more thing real quick though. All right, so here is what one of the things he had set so many good points. I really encourage you to watch that video. But he talked about that Dr. Fauci, with this whole thing, our president is so wise to how he's exposing Dr. Fauci. Now, for us, maybe not having a military background, and we're like, why are you having anything to do with Dr. Fauci? Because he's the bad guy, and he's deep state, and he's the CDC. He's been causing us all this damage to our health. Okay, we know that. He knows that. Pew knows that. Anybody who's awake knows that. But how can he expose that to the world? If President Trump were to go and say, okay, I'm going to have another guy. I don't like Dr. Fauci. He's not allowed to come. I'm going to have my guy. Then that would be playing right into their hands, and Fauci would immediately go to CNN. Oh, he's no good. Remember at the very beginning, people were like, do you all have an issue between Trump and Fauci? And Trump was like, oh, we're great. And even Fauci was like, yeah, we're great. So Fauci would have gone to the media, and everybody would have raised this big storm. Oh, he thinks he's the head of the CDC, and he thinks he's smarter than all these people, blah, blah, blah. And you can see, and then Pelosi would have been, well, we're going to have to impeach him, right? That's what he thinks several moves ahead. He knows that's the way. So he says, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him out here with me and expose him to the world. He plays them like a fiddle, and none of us knew any of these people. So he's like, oh, this is the show. This is the part of the show where I'm introducing this character, the Fauci and Birx. And now we all know them, and we know who they are, and we get it, right? It's much better than for us to read a book about it, but just to see them day in and day out and realize, who they are. So they don't even realize how, we get it now. So he said that. He also said one of the ways that for sure that President Trump is not a dictator is because he's a dictator. He's doing military law, whatever, martial law. He's got what good dictator do you know? Halfway decent dictator would have the gun stores open in the middle of martial law. If you're trying to remove people's rights, then the last thing you would do is have the gun stores open. I mean, even in the middle, that's good. That was one of the essential stores that was left open. If he's a dictator, he's not a very good one, right? So, these are the kinds of points to make to people, whether on social media or in your family. What self-respecting dictator would do that? He's certainly not a dictator, because he's looking out for our rights in the middle of all this. And yes, we've had to stay home, and we haven't understood why. Most people we have, but most people have not understood why. And that brings up another issue, which is I'll go into that one, and that is, these people up in Michigan have been protesting, and with their guns, they brought their guns with them and protesting this whole thing. Well, did that stop? Are they able to start going back to work yet? Not yet. It's close. But first of all, their governor went way over the line. She took this, and like any Democrat does, they take it and they run with it. Now, by the way, this is also showing, it is revealing, this whole thing is to expose the bad guys. And so we clearly see the good governors and the bad governors. We see the governors that are in the pocket of the Chinese. And he brought this up too. He says that he just made it very simple. Deep state equals China. Deep state equals China. I'm going to try to move me out of the way. If y'all want to make a copy of that little meme right there and share that meme. Deep state equals China. Very simple. They have bought and paid for the politicians all over the country, and said, if you want to have any of our goods, you want to have this and that, you want us to support you financially, if you want us to support all these people in these politicians and the schools, you've got to do what we say. And they're saying, well, you don't, we're paying for literally the articles in the paper and in the CNN. I think CNN stands for China News Network. Seriously. It's now it's dawning on us who these people are. So that's the deep state. These criminals are in the pocket of the Chinese. And I did a video a while back, I'll try to link it below, about Pompeo and also the one I just did a few weeks ago, and hardly anybody watched it, but I just went through Pence's speech on China and how, it was detailed out. Whether you like Pence or not, I really don't care. It's about, he had a speech that he delivered for the president about China and their role and what they've been doing to us with all the technology, with stealing our patents, with controlling our education, with controlling our media. They've run our country. And this is what he boils down to, is that it's not that they were going to take over our country, is that our nation was already lost. Our nation was already under the control of the Chinese through people that don't look Chinese. Hillary doesn't look Chinese, Kenya. Hussein doesn't look Chinese. Maybe the governor of Michigan doesn't look Chinese, but they have Chinese loyalty, and you look at their bank account and you see they do, and all the decisions they've made are for the Chinese, the communist government. So, and you're like, well, what about Islam? Islam. It's not. It's about deep state. Their headquarters was in China, because in China they have no rights. Basically, it's NAZI in China, because you can do anything in the world to these people. You don't have any choice. They have no choice, and they can give them COVID and they don't care. You have no rights. And so the whole thing of them having control of us through our phones, through our laptops, through our, the Google set up all of this, and they were completely spying on us and had us really clamped down, and we were done. It's really amazing that we were able to wiggle out. He said if Hillary had gotten in just a little bit more, and this whole pandemic would have been where they chipped us, and they would have been able to complete that. And you can't, it would actually attach to your DNA, and there would be no way that you could unchip yourself, unattach this to your DNA. How crazy is that? If that doesn't sound like a mad NAZI scientist, I don't know what does. Anyway, so this was really, really good to kind of think through all these things from a military understanding and which we didn't realize. And years ago, this is well before I woke up. This may have been 8-10 years ago. I'm thinking, how in the world, if a country was trying to take us over, because I'd started to really follow the news more, but I was more of a Fox girl. And so if the country was trying to take us over, what would they do? They wouldn't surround us with guns, with ships. And even then I started to realize they would infiltrate the people in our country. So, but obviously now having Q and so much of this, people, so many patriots who are sharing information, it's all, gelling. And this just took a while. This was really why it took 3.5 years, because it's not just bringing in new people. It's those of us who've been in it since the beginning to gather all this data and to put it together in our minds, right? So great to have all these people. So yeah, so this video is really good. And the thing is, are we going to be, he also brought up that, they told us there's a virus and that we were in danger, and everyone willingly stayed home. What does that tell you? And that's what he was saying, that they were going to have us chipped, but also have us where, they just completely controlled us. And we already we're so accustomed to that control mechanism. We've got to come out of that control mechanism. Now it's difficult now, because literally I have a police officer who drives down my road every day, and he's wanting to make sure everybody's complying. So we're really caught in a difficult spot. But as much as I can, I don't wear a mask, because I'm kind of being in, like, if I don't have to, I haven't put on a mask this whole time. Okay. But I haven't gone out to places that necessarily would require it. Some places are requiring it now. But, I'm trying to just, that's my way of protesting. I haven't gone out with a gun, and they're screaming literally on the, they're just like, yeah, let me just play a little bit for you. So, and we need a healthy dose of that. We need to become more freedom loving, people who say, look, we're not playing, we are not going to just lay down and listen to what you say and be controlled by someone on the news who says you're in danger, hair on fire, scary, and just we go hide under the bed. Okay, so we've got to all, come to that. I wonder if at some point, I'm guessing at some point, when the coast is clear, and then we find out that these people that were worldwide mafia of 170,000 plus criminals, when they are gone from us, the Bible says that we will look for them and we won't be able to find them. Once they're gone, then we'll say, hey, this was why. Yes, you had been brainwashed into just listening to the media and doing what you were told, but these people are gone now, and you don't have to believe what you're told anymore. We don't have a fake news anymore. You are a free agent. You can think for yourselves, and you don't have to be controlled by that. So we still in the millennial reign, which was what we're breaking into. For you new people, we're breaking into 1,000 years of peace, which is what God had promised to us. We're going to have to think for ourselves. The whole point of us rising to this new level is not to just sit and like children believe what we were told. I'm going to read that verse to you here in just a second. But there's one, this. Okay. So yeah, the other thing that's come out, did you see on the news today that Kim Jong-un is sick? And he's, they're talking about, they're worried about him and they don't want to have to deal with somebody else because whatever. So the thing is, for those of us in the Q Army, we know that he has been a puppet for these people and they controlled him. Well, there really should never have been a North Korea and a South Korea. In my dream, it would be that they would be united. And Q's talked about that they would be united again. So I just, my dream is that Kim Jong-un is going to fade into the, and even in the video I saw today about him on One American News. I do like One American News. Oh, yeah, and the president does too. So I do watch them, and I never feel like throwing something at the TV. But he was riding a horse into the sunset. It was kind of interesting how they were playing that. So as if he's just going to fade away. So he was never intended to be the leader. They should have never had a leader of North Korea. All right, which was a CIA operation. If you're not familiar with that, the whole point about, look way back at the very beginning of the Q post, the CIA had complete control over this North Korea. That was their CIA operation, and that's why they were scaring everybody. Oh, they were going to nuclear war and all that. It was a boogeyman. They had to have this as a boogeyman to scare people and to control us. And now they don't have that anymore. And so I think part of the plan is this unification. Yeah, they had terrible underground bunkers and no telling. We already know what was likely going on over there. Evil. And so there was right December 2017, there was some, I wish I had a picture of it, but I saw a picture online where just this looked like rockets, red glare. The bomb was bursting in air, and it was whatever it was in North Korea, that eye of the rabbit. If you haven't seen that, you got to see that. I guess I should go get that for you. But that was blasted into hell, and that was when, after that, then Kim Jong-un was like, we're going to go to the Olympics and we're going to give you back your dead heroes and we're going to have peace and we're not having war anymore. Like, what happened? And yesterday everything was bad and now everything's good. Well, it's because we blasted the CIA operation into hell. Yay. Hold on real quick. So this is actually where the White Rabbit is in near Pyongyang, in the top of these mountains. It went way, way down. Well, this was blasted. Yeah, they built it to look like a white rabbit. You see that? And then right in the middle, there's their hotel. It looks like this, which is so eerie, looking like a pyramid, with the eye at the top. Evil. Yeah. And so this is exactly what they built to look like a white rabbit. I mean, these people have way too much time on their hands and money, and our money, to build all these things. And so they were completely controlling North Korea and using Kim Jong-un. He was just their puppet. And so this is one of my favorite pictures is this one. Of my favorite pictures of the entire Q, everything of all the Q has revealed to us and told us that, and I found some kind of video was this. It just shows you that Kim Jong-un is not this. Can you imagine if you were it was told that you were the evil dictator of the world and you're trying to nuke the whole world, and then President Trump comes and sets you free, and you're like, thank you. Thank you for setting me free from these people. They were making me to be out like some evil, right? And so, yeah, you can see in all these pictures, I'll show you another one, that he adores President Trump because President Trump has set him free. He was not doing all this evil. The one who was doing all this evil, it was the CIA, y'all. It was not Kim Jong-un. So we all need to come to, if you're new about that, there you go. There's your red pill right there. And then look at this picture. Does he look like an evil dictator to you guys, holding hands with the South Korea president? It would just seem to me that the South Korea president should be the president of all Korea, which it should have been. It should never have been divided. I think this is also where the two sticks join. This is prophetically that so many of these have been divided are going to be brought back together. Beautiful, beautiful prophecy. So here's some other pictures. Here's Kim Jong-un. Look at this face. They love each other. I can't say that, but a picture says 1,000 words. He's like, before you came along, I was under the control of these deep state creeps, and you've just saved my life and the life of all the people in North Korea, and I just love you so much. Isn't that a great picture? Oh, a picture does say 1,000 words. All right, so yeah, look at this. They're just laughing, yucking it up, just having a great time. Like, yeah, it was so funny what we did to the CIA. Remember that day we blew them into smithereens? Wasn't it great? Oh, yes. Yeah. And then this is from Kim Clement. South Korea, North Korea shall become one, says the Lord. North Korea, your president is dead. He is already dead. Okay, so, this prophetic language, you have to look at it and kind of read it like a Q post. I've already written on the wall, mene, mene, tekel, person, which is the same that Belshazzar had written, the handwriting that was written on the wall, which means your kingdom is removed from you. God says your days are numbered. You've been counted in the balances. Therefore, Kim, it is now time for you to face this that you have done has been iniquitous, like iniquity maybe. You are no longer alive, you are a vegetable, you're brain dead. But God said, because of that, I will cause that to bring about unity in South and North Korea, and the great move of the Spirit shall come from there. So yeah, I think that he was under their mind control, probably, that they would control him one way or the other, and now he's set free. This is a beautiful, North Korea is one of the most striking, beautiful pictures of the release of captives, that we've seen, because it was in such terrible shape. Imagine if you had been raised in North Korea, and this the stories we hear from what the CIA did to them, what the deep state, whatever you want to call it, did to them. So yay, I just wanted you to see that. So we're looking at all these things, and so now we hear that he's sick. Well, I don't think he's sick. He could be sick. I don't know. He hasn't called me to tell me, but I just think that this is part of the play, part of the show. And then for North Korea to be unified. All right. So again, we look at it, whenever we look at any of this news, we're like, okay, what's really going on behind the scenes? And some of these things we don't know for sure, but we can piece together pieces of the puzzle, right? So cool. All right. So then, yeah, all these things he was bringing up all these things, and I thought those were some really, really good points. So again, I say go and watch this video, and yeah. So a friend of mine was bringing up this passage from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It says, "For we know in part," probably hearing on this side, "for we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears." And so we need each other. That's the whole point of the awakening, is that we all work together. It can't be just one person setting the world free. We've got to all work together, support President Trump, share truth with our friends, help everybody to understand what's going on. And there's just a rising, and we all are understanding. And so, I might have this piece and another person has that piece, and we put it all together, and it makes this map to help us to get out of this darkness and out of this matrix of control prison. It's really quite something, quite amazing. So it says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. And that's what humanity is doing right now. We're putting away childhood. We're starting to think like an adult, think, and not just listen to whatever we're told. We're thinking through. We're using our mind, and we're coming out of this control. And the good thing is, if you're new to the Q movement, or if you're new to some of these things and new to thinking strategically like this, and looking at it from this, not just believing what you're told on the surface, and you have to understand we're in a war. It's a real war. And so it's a matter of us, being able to read between the lines in the fog of war. He cannot put people's lives in danger. He cannot, for the sake of our peace of mind, he cannot come out and tell why he's having Fauci up there, or why he's, what's really going on with North Korea, or what's really going on and why we've had to shut down the country. He can't do that. So thankfully we have Q. As Q said the other day, what would it be like if we weren't, if Q wasn't even there? We would not know. We would just be in a really bad shape. So, but we've got to use this and think critically. We've got to think critically. And so we might as well get used to it. We've got to get used to it and to think critically, because the Lord was kind of helping me to see the future is how we can make our world a better place. And we're going to have to, he's got big jobs for us to do to restore what was broken, what's been damaged by these evil people. And it's going to take to think through this about how we can do it, and not be doing it with the motivation of money. We're doing it based upon, for the good of our brothers and sisters. We're going to have to think differently. Okay, so we're going to have to really, and bringing about these coalitions of people who want to help with this and that, and everybody using their gifts. And so that's what it talks about in another place in 1 Corinthians. It talks about the church. We need all the parts to make it work. Okay, and so in the past we've just had you go and you listen to a preacher and you have to just do what you're told. And now it's going to be where we connect with each other, and we make these to make this work, and we're going to have freedom to make everything beautiful in our town, and make sure everyone has everything that they need. It's going to be very exciting. It's very exciting to imagine that we can do things not just for ourselves and hoard like these creeps did, but how we can do something to benefit society. Don't forget Omega Kingdom Ministries. I just signed up to be on there to do boot camp, because I've been having small groups at our home, and but to help to make sure that all throughout our community we have those where people feel like they can join together, and that there's a trust, and that we can pray for each other, and that we can help each other, and everyone will pray for each other, and that type of thing. So I would really encourage you to join in on boot camp on OmegaKingdomMinistries.org, I think it is. All right, so this video this is one of my very first videos. I think I'm just rounding at 2 years. I was going to tell you about the book. The book is on the 21st? Something like that. The 26th. Today's the 21st. In 5 days, it'll be a 1-year anniversary of my book. Yay! Our book. And also my videos, I think I started that in May of 2 years ago. Because after I went to DC, I realized this was my role that I could play, is to connect the biblical dots, and help people see how this is all biblical. And by the way, before I go into all this, let me go ahead and show you. This is the book that I wrote, QAnon and 1,000 Years of Peace. If you're new, understand that this battle that we're fighting, which is crazy, it's a true war. This is a true war. All the other wars have been, yes, people seriously died and all that, but it's about that these are people who, this was a proxy war, so they would make money and control society and get rich on the war. But this is a true war where we are destroying the beast and the false prophet of Revelation. These false teachers, these false, all the people who've been lying to us and deceiving society. And the beast, which is this global, worldwide mafia crime ring. Okay, so we're about to break into 1,000 years of peace. We're not leaving. We're not escaping out of here. We're going to sit here and fight, and we're going to see his kingdom come. His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And it says there will be no more wars. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. So I take all the things that were told to us about Revelation and how they had confused us and misdirected us, and I go into each part and I explain what it really, really, really means. So there's that. And also, let's see. Yeah, also you can go to my Revelation playlist if you want to learn about that. I've got so many great playlists now that I have created. Oh, by the way, I have the same book with a different title. This is my first title, QAnon and the Battle of Armageddon, which I think is really a cool cover. I think that's cool. But some people were like, Armageddon scares people. And because they've brainwashed us into not understanding what this battle is, they've just got us so scared that they said, some people were like, well, maybe that title's a little scary. So that's when I came up with QAnon and 1,000 Years of Peace. And then I'm like, okay, how else can we get this out to the masses who don't necessarily know about QAnon, but they really want to understand what Revelation is, and they know in their heart something else is going on right now? Well, that's when I created the Book of Revelation Revealed. So they're all the same book with just different titles, to try to help people come out of this grip of this fear of Armageddon. And it is daunting what we're going through. It is daunting that these creeps have the power to cause a pandemic and to destroy the world economy. Okay, yeah, it is, but we're okay. We're going to make it, and we are understanding what is really going on is we are destroying them. They had just about had us down for the count, and there was no way to get up, but the Lord is saving us just in the nick of time. So it's very encouraging, and it's not scary at all. All right, so, and also on my Revelation playlist. So I go through most everything I talk about on the book is in the Revelation playlist too. All right, so yeah, so this is one of my very first videos that I ever did, and it was so cool because I think I have some comments on there. You'll see that that some Marines had actually commented. It immediately started to just go viral. And I was brand new. I'd been having like videos of maybe, a couple hundred or maybe 1,000, but all of a sudden this was like at 56,000. I'm like, what happened? So some of the Marines came on and commented, and they said that that they had been told by someone, I think someone in a meeting, a commanding officer, had told them about this video because I tell the story of Elijah and what happened with him destroying the pedos, okay, back in his day, the Baal worshipers back in his day. And so I created this, and it was talking about Epstein Pedo Island. And I, got the song of the Marines on there. These are the days of Elijah. It's just a great, great song. Check out this video. It's really a fun video. And so it shows in the story is where Elijah was like, he realized he's got to stop these people because they're doing this Baal worship, and it's taken over their country. And so they taught the people that this was a good thing, and he's trying to help people realize, but he can't. There's so much fake news. It looks like, well, this must be a good thing because it's definitely in the vast majority. And look, Jezebel has all these priests that she somehow takes literally the gold from the people and pays these priests, and so she can have this, I'm sure, adrenochrome. Okay, and so look at these. So they come to this thing. He says, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go to this mountain, Mount Carmel, and we're going to set up 2 altars, and one of the altars can be your altar and one will be mine. And you guys can have your God, you can pray to your God and have him send down fire to light up the offering. Okay, they were going to put a bull on here. Okay, so the thing is, in the day, normally they would go to their normal place, and they would have these, and they would do all their dancing around, and it would light up. It would light on fire, and so the people believed Just like we've always believed, okay, well, these people, we see this pandemic and we see this, these hurricanes, and we see all the shootings, and we see all these amazing things that are happening. But then we go to the news to see, well, what is going on? Tell us. And we believe in the past, many people have believed what they were told. Just like back in the day, these people believed it. Well, they didn't realize there was a guy behind there. He would go underneath and he would light it up. And the people believed it was real, and it was fake. It was fake news. So much, like I'm going to show in here in a minute on the Truman Show. It was fake. Everything around him was fake. Everything around him was totally made up, and he believed it, right? Until a moment that he woke up. And that's what's happening to us. We're all becoming the true man. Anyway, so I'll show you just a little bit. So they're dancing around. Okay, so they've got their thing, and they're trying to get it to light up. Okay? They're dancing around. They're cutting themselves. They're making a big to-do. Elijah at one point is like, just shout louder, or maybe your God is asleep. And the people are looking around. They're like, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. They're exhausted. They've worn themselves completely out because it's not working. And the people are like, what do you mean? It's supposed to light up. It always lights up in the past. Why is it not lighting up now? It's because we're on Mount Carmel and they don't have the little guy underneath there who's going to light it up. Like the little man under the, with the levers and the Wizard of Oz. So what he does is he does his altar. Well, he drenches it. He pours water on it, just waters it down. And so, there's no way, humanly speaking, that anyone could go and light this up. And the people are watching and they're like, it's just like everyone watching Trump. You're like, well, this is so different. There's no way. How many times have I heard they got him this time? And they never do. It's so funny. So it doesn't worry me one little bit. I'm just like, come on now, you guys. Yeah. So anyway, so they water it. And then finally, Elijah goes, he says, water it again. So then he goes and they're all laughing at him. They're like, no way. So they water it again. And so then he calls upon the Lord. And the Lord comes with a cloud over this place, and he asks him, and immediately, blammy. Look at that. Blam. And the Lord licks up everything. It just is a big fiery fireball. And the people immediately are like, wait, we've been lied to. Baal is not the true and living God. The Lord is the true and living God. And they turn and they repent. This is what we're about to see, you guys, with humanity. When there's the mass start awakening, and it's going to be like this, where people are going to be like, we believe in the true and living God. We've been listening to people who were lying to us. They were fake. It was fake news. And your children, don't worry about your children right now, because there will come a day when they will realize it, just like these people. And all of a sudden they're like, we've been lied to. We did the wrong things and we didn't realize. And everybody en masse is going to recognize what the truth is. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? Isn't that wonderful? And then Elijah went down. I've been there. I've been to Mount Carmel, and they took, Elijah went and took all these prophets of Baal. He took them to the Kidron Valley and slaughtered them all. Every one of them. How about that for a Bible story? How about that? This is So this is Superbook Elijah and the Prophets of Baal, and also mine that I have, that I created, QAnon Original Epstein Pedo Island destroyed by Elijah Marines. That's the thing, is our Marines are getting to play the role of Elijah. And so I guess their leader, whoever it was, told them, go see this lady, Freedom Force Battalion, and she tells Bible stories, because he wanted them to know the Bible story, the Bible story behind what Elijah had done and what they were doing. I did this video at the same time when they went in, and we think that they destroyed the pedo island. They went in there, make sure all any children were saved and all that, and they destroyed that thing. So, yay! And so, yeah, that was pretty cool. They couldn't comment on the channel and say that that's what they did, but that's what we feel had happened. That was 2 years ago. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? So, yeah, they needed to know the story, and many of them did not know the story of Elijah, so I got to tell it to them. Isn't that fun? All right, so the next thing is, okay, on here, the 1335 days. Okay, so remember I was saying at the beginning, I think that May 5th is a big day because the Congress is supposed to open, and what if some of these people are not even there? And we're like, it's open, and there's 15 people. Because there's only 15, I'm just throwing this number out, there's only 15 who are true citizens. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what happened in 1871 when they tried to. They could only find 15 people who were citizens who could sign the Nasara legislation. Okay, and everybody realizes, what do you mean these people are not citizens? That they, or whatever. I don't know if that's how it's going to happen. But then this day right here, if you haven't seen this video, I really would encourage you to watch it. Blessed are those who reach 1,335 days. Is May 29th, 2020. The 1335 days. I clocked it from the Feast of Trumpets all the way to the end of Passover 2020, and that's 1290, which the Lord said it would be 1290. He says, blessed are those who make it to the 1335th day, which is Pentecost, which is 50 days after the last day of the Feast of Trumpets. And that's fits exactly with the prophecy in Daniel chapter 12, as well as what the Lord is doing in our day right now. This great awakening that we're seeing rolled out day after day after day. What if and that's at Pentecost, when God poured out his Spirit on all flesh. And not on all flesh. At that point, it was back in the day, it was like the 12 disciples, but now it would be all humanity, like in this video I was just showing you. What if that's the day when everyone recognizes the truth and there's a mass start awakening? I hope that's right. I hope that's right. We'll find out. All right. So there was another thing I was sharing with you guys about Karen Hudis. Remember the lady on the videos about the gold and all that? And that she is the trustee for the World Bank, the Gold Trust for all of humanity that was set up by Ferdinand Marcos and Rizal, who was the twin brother of Queen Victoria. So it's very complex and it's very interesting, and it's piece by piece we're getting all this information. I've been listening to her videos, and she is a whistleblower explaining all this about all this corruption. So when I put this out there, I had several people who commented that on the community page, I think mostly, and some on the video, saying, oh, well, Karen doesn't like President Trump. It doesn't really matter whether she likes President Trump. But this is the thing. This is the main thing. She's already been poisoned with arsenic, you guys. This woman is very courageous, but they've already tried to kill her. And she was even saying the other day that she got thrown down because they put something in her, they can control her. This MK Ultra mind control is real, okay? But she's very strong, and she knows that she's getting help from, and angels. The Lord is holding her up in this day. She has a huge role to play in this. Can you imagine if you were the trustee for quadrillions of dollars of gold? It's a huge task, but the Lord is certainly able to hold her up and to keep her going. And she's, all right. So this is the thing. We've got to think strategically. She cannot go and say on her Twitter page, I think President Trump is great, and he's going to sign up, make sure we get this gold so we can divvy it out to all the nations. I can say that because it's just little old me on a little bitty YouTube channel. She cannot do that. It would, we have got, remember how Q has said so many times, are we going to go through the front door? Are we going to go around back? Are we going to wake a sleeping lion? Are we going to go sneak around? I've talked to people who are who work on the stock market, and they don't believe in any way in the world there's any way that this gold would be released or that we would go back under the gold standard. That is the last thing that they're thinking. They are completely in the dark on that, and that's exactly where we want them. And we need Karen to play along, to say, oh, she thinks Trump he's one of them and he works with the banking cabal. And she's, when you look back on her Twitter, it looks very legit that she doesn't, believe in him and all that. She's smart. She's very smart. She's very, very smart. And she knows how to play this, and she's got to play this smart. So I just we've got to think, imagine yourself in that position. you've got to play it smart, especially, if they've already tried to kill you. You cannot come and just put it all out there. Now, she explains all this on her videos. She explains about what happened with Ferdinand Marcos and all that, but she's not giving very much information at all about what's going on right now. She did have one just now about the transition. She said this was like 3 days ago. She said that we're in a transition period. So that was pretty much as she could possibly tell. Okay, because it's just too dangerous. We've got to, once this is over, and imagine this, when every nation has the gold that they are trading on their own gold, and the banking cartel is like, but we've always been able to, that's been our money that we were trading on, and we're getting wealthy on, and everybody else was just trading on fake paper. It'll be too late. Okay, so we've got to think logically, strategically. Interesting little story that she tells is that she was flatlined, so she was technically dead, and she said that she saw the Lord. She's Jewish, okay, but she saw the Lord, and she believes that in Jesus Christ as the Lord now, and that she very much feels very spiritual. She's very, very much is in touch with, just heavenly, and that's kind of what I've been talking about. We've got to really think, asking the Lord, not just like, Jesus, help me, not that kind of prayer, but where we really say, Lord, I'm like, when I was writing my book, I'm like, I'm like, Lord, I need to know what this is. And where I'm like, an importunate prayer where you're like, have to have the answer, like the importunate woman. She's just beating on the door until she gets the answer. And where you are just like more, just like really wanting to hear from the Lord. You, not just hear from me or from Bards of War or whatever, but to hear from him and to listen carefully to him. And so she's very much listening. If you listen to her, you see that she's almost got, like, because she had that near-death experience, she says she's almost like has one foot in heaven. She just thinks more eternally minded. And that's not a bad thing. People who've had near-death experiences, it changes their lives. Okay, I'm not telling y'all to have a near-death experience. I'd say let's try to have, think like that without having to go through the arsenic poisoning, right? And so we think with eternity in mind. How do we, how can we be a part? What is our role to play in this giant battle of Armageddon that's going on? Did I tell you guys that in President Trump's New York apartment, he has an angelic war scene painted on his ceiling? If you haven't seen my video, The President's Residence, you've got to go look at it. I'm just going to show you this. I love the fact that, that's Irish and the Scottish is from the line of Judah, where they went through Scotland and Ireland and then have come to America. It's really cool. And I think so many of these cool little Irish stories, like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I think there's something to that. They knew that this was going to happen one day, and we're about to have that day where we're having the rainbow currency. The rainbow is based upon the silver, platinum, and gold. That everyone's currency is going to be backed, and everyone's going to have, a pot of gold. How cool is that? And also, I think that there's a lot to this 777. We keep seeing all these sevens. I just posted one the other day on Twitter, just so much of these numbers. And I've always thought of lucky as in, oh, well, that means it doesn't believe in God or whatever. It's that's not a good thing to be lucky because I want to put my trust in God. Well, think of lucky in the sense of blessed. Wow, you sure are lucky. You sure are blessed. Okay. So anyway, so the last thing I was going to show you is about the Truman Show, and this is what we are experiencing right now. If you guys have seen that show, he was living there, and he was, all of a sudden people began to look at him. I've had that happen with me too. You're like, why are these people acting like they're on a TV show? This doesn't seem real to me. Why is that person talking about me behind my back? And I can see, what are they talking about? And so it's because they knew something, they were in on something, and we didn't know. Okay, but it's now dawning on us, right? So he's like, I want to leave. And so he gets on this sailboat and he's headed out. Well, they're like, well, at first he's like, oh, I'm just going on a trip. He's like, I've got to leave this matrix. I've got to leave this control construct. I've got to find, is there a way to get out of this control? And that's what we're doing. We're out of here. We're leaving this fake news. We're not believing what the fake news says. We're not being a part of that anymore. And they're like, no, we're going to cause all this other stuff to try to keep you and keep everybody reined in. We're going to, make it difficult for you on social media, or we're going to cause all these things that are going to make you go, oh, well, maybe I should believe the news because it's so scary and, all that. And so he gets in this, look at the storm. You can even see the storm brewing. And then like I don't know if that's from that movie. That's probably from a different movie, but yeah, it's just the storm. It's like crazy raging. And like, and the boat literally turns over. I mean, it's like the storm. It's just a stormy storm. And this guy is up there he's the producer of the movie. This guy Truman is in just a actor in a movie. He doesn't realize it, but he's just an actor in a movie. And this guy's running the storms. He's controlling the weather. He's controlling everything. He had controlled the boat, so it flipped over. He had controlled the traffic. I mean, all that. So at the end, finally, he bumps into the set on the stage, and he realizes, I finally can get out of here. And so it's yeah, so that one's kind of cool. That's kind of cool on the Truman Show. So yeah, so we're just about to leave that stage where we're all going to rise and what do you say? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, something like that. So that we all are like, goodbye, deep state. We're going on to have a beautiful life outside of this matrix, and you guys can go straight to Gitmo. Isn't that cool? I just thought that you would like that. I think that's so cool. All right, so I'm going to jet out of here. I'm so glad I've been able to do one each day. It's been, I really enjoy getting to share, what my thoughts and the things that I learn. And I love reading your comments, and let's just keep praying. Let's thank the Lord. Thank you so much again, Lord, that you have just opened our eyes to so many things. Lord, we ask you to pour out your Spirit on us so that we can think strategically and think not like a child, but to put away childish things and to think like an adult, and to be able to read between the lines, and to take all the things that we've learned and to really think, and to think logically, and to understand. Oh Lord, we thank you for all these who've put themselves in harm's way, who are on the front lines. We ask you to bless them and protect them, surround them with your angels. And oh Lord, we ask that you would just help, especially like Ms. Hudis and all these who are making some of these very strategic decisions. Just bless them in everything that they're trying to do, and all these decisions that they're making as far as opening up the true sovereign government of really every nation. I just pray that you would just help each person who's involved with that you would help them and guide them, and they would see, they would just know that you are with them and that you're helping them every little step of the way. I pray that for every person in our country, we pray that they will wake up, that you would whisper in their ear and help them to see something on a video that will help them to come out of this matrix. And that more and more, as we we share, and maybe we share it with 3 people or 4 or 10 or whatever, and that person shares, these people share it with 10, and then it just keeps going and going and going. We pray that you would bless all of our efforts, that the enemy would not be able to thwart our way, and until we rise and we get out of this matrix. We thank you, Lord, that we're going to see such beautiful, bright days. Give us the wisdom to know what to share with each person that would really help them to wake up. And for those who are not ready, Lord, we just put them in your hands. We trust that at the right time, they're going to wake up. Just like on that video, they're all going to wake up. So we're not worried about it. We put it all in your hands. We just calm, trusting you. We trust you completely. And we put all this in your hands. And we pray all these things in your great name, Jesus. Amen. All right, guys, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.